You look around and you see the new Big 12 in person. I mean, we talked about it for a while. A couple years ago, we weren't sure the conference would be here. You had been a spokesperson. Do you look around with great pride at the way this conference is right now and kicking off a new season, or tipping off a new season?
Absolutely. Our league is probably as solid as it's ever been since its existence. And we hated to lose A&M and Missouri, but we got two good ads. TCU, who I think is great because we can recruit the Metroplex, all the programs can. There's so many players there. And West Virginia gives us an East Coast flavor and a personality coming into the league. Hugs is great for our league because he's a great soundbite and he's a personality and brings attention. And then you think about what the league has done with football, joining forces with the SEC and the new television deals and everything. I mean, we're not going anywhere. Our league's here to stay, and we have great leadership, and I think everybody's excited about it.
You talked about Bob Huggins and what he brings. Obviously, the personality and coaching as well. What will be the biggest addition to this league, you think?
Well, with Hugs, I think I think personality and he can. He can coach, and he's won a ton of games, and I think the fact that he was at K-State, even though it's just a year, I think it brings some excitement with that because he was well thought of and well liked in this area. I believe the year he's here. So, by Kansas fans too. This is good. West Virginia coming in the league.
I'm sorry.
Well, then you think about we may have the Heisman Trophy winner also from their school, so which brings great exposure to our league. So that's all positive.
Wonder what you learned about your team in 5 days or so since late night.
Well, we don't pass it very well, and we obviously don't guard, and we're average shooters, and don't understand. We know this. I know the same thing that every coach knows about his team right now. But I do like them. Their try level's real good, and they're working hard. And this is going to be a fun group to coach.
Coach, every year you seem to just take whatever and turn them into winners. When you got 9 freshmen, does that become more of a challenge?
Well, I think so. But I think they're pretty talented freshmen. Now you said 9. We have 7 on scholarship. I'm not too concerned that my son doesn't make all his shots, to be honest with you. But the key to our team will be our seniors. If our seniors play to the level that they're capable of playing, if they take that next step, then they'll drag the freshmen along and buy time for them. But I do think it's going to be a challenging year, but not in a bad way. It was challenging back when Mario, Julian, and Brandon and we're all freshmen, and you got Darnell and Sasha and Russell. We're all sophomores, but that team still managed to do pretty well. So I anticipate this team having a chance too.
Coach, is it refreshing in some ways to have 7 freshmen? Everything's new to them.
I do think it's refreshing. I think this, the one and done is an awful rule. But kids graduate in 4 years, that's a good rule because they get tired of you, and you may get tired of them too. So, and they've heard the same thing for 4 years. And they can do the drills before you even, tell them what to do. But they can also teach the young kids. And when guys leave that you fall in love with and played such a huge part of your whatever you had going, when they leave, you're happy for them. But you get, and you're sad in some ways, but you get rejuvenated because you got a new group coming in, and hopefully that can impact it the same way the ones that just left did. So I like coaching freshmen. And most freshmen know they don't know. The hardest guys to coach is the ones that don't know that think they do. And these guys, they're actually being sponges and get the point that they don't have all the answers right now.
You're counting on Elijah to take kind of some ownership of this team. Have you noticed a shift in his demeanor?
No question. No question. He's a different guy from a leadership standpoint. Elijah's ridiculously bright and a deep thinker, and he gets it. But I think that the next step he has to take, obviously, from a vocal leadership, being positive, I think it's just a matter of time before he gets comfortable with this.
How has he grown in your 4 years? In his 4 years here?
Well, he was a terrific talent that basically was thought of back in Vegas as a guy that didn't quite get as much done as what he should have got done based on his athletic ability. Came in here, had good freshman, sophomore year, but we had other guys, so we didn't have to depend on him. But when we had to depend on him, he delivered last year, and he's better than he was last year. His knee. He had knee surgery, and he's still probably 95% on that. He still bothers him a little bit, but that's just a matter of time before he's 100%. But he's become more complete each and every year.
You guys have really, guard-wise, a lot of guys that can, I guess, maybe score from the perimeter. If you, Andrew and Ben, and do you anticipate that being a strength? I mean, is that something you'll look to utilize?
I think that we probably will shoot more jump shots than we have at any point in time since I've been here, maybe. And I'm not sure that's a strength as much as it maybe we should play through our bigs more. But we don't have as natural scorers inside. Perry's really the only natural scorer we have inside, and where it comes natural is really about. Whereas we have a lot of guys that can rise up and make a shot. So hopefully we won't become a jump shooting team, so to speak, but we're probably more apt to be one this year than we have in years past.
Any update on Zach?
No, it's still the same. Still the same. I think he wasn't scheduled to see the doctors reevaluate again for a couple of weeks, so everything's still the same.
Did you get to check out the 30 for 30?
I did not. We had dinner over here with the Big 12 coaches, so I mean I've got it taped. I heard it was a good piece, so do you guys agree?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
You look really, really good. It makes you look like you run the entire state.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I thought you was talking about facially.
Oh.
So obviously, well, disappointment. But I heard it was good. I heard it was good, and it's pretty cool. You know, people from the coast don't understand because they haven't been here, but this place has had as much to do with the historical significance of our game as any place, period, and maybe more when you stop and really think about it. About our first coach was an inventor. Our second coach is the father of basketball. On his teams was Adolph Rupp, Ralph Miller, John McClendon, Dean Smith. Will played here. I mean, you start adding it up. It's like, who really matches that? Kentucky can say they do, but their coach played for Kansas. So there's a lot of things from a historical value that maybe will bring light to the nation about our place through that 30 to 30 piece.
When he finally got to you and you said you would give David Booth a call, what did you say to him that really maybe turned him and got him excited?
I don't know. I've known David and his family for a while. I don't know if I had to say anything to get him too excited. I knew he was competitive though, and I let him know I don't think there's any way you're going to let anybody beat you. It's one of those deals, and I think it started. They thought they could maybe buy it for about $1 million, and when it gets to be about $4 million, that may be reason to back off a little bit. But apparently, Suzanne and David they saw it through, and it's going to do wonders for our university. I really believe that. It's everybody that supports our schools should be proud of the fact of what this man and his family did to bring the rules home.
I know it's only been 2 months since you guys played in Europe, but during the first week of practice, who would you say has probably made the biggest jump?
I'll be honest. I would say our seniors. I thought our seniors didn't play well at all over there. I thought Kevin Dizzle did okay, but Jeff and Elijah and Travis didn't. And those guys have been better since practice started. And of the freshmen, I would say Ben and Jamari. Ben didn't play, but Jamari, those guys have come a long ways in the last couple of months.
Do you consider it not a big loss, but somewhat of a loss since Danny Manning left to go coach TU?
I think anytime you have somebody leave, I think it's a loss, without question. I think it's a loss that Thomas isn't here. I think it's a loss that Barry Henson's not here. I think you could say that, but the reality of it is you replace guys with either similar expertise or maybe bring a different set of skills to your program, which are bonuses. So it's great for Danny that he got the job. We're going to miss Danny. There's no question. He was great with our guys, but Norm's great with our guys too. I mean, Norm's he's been the head coach at St. John's for 6 years. I mean, he's worked with big guys for me the whole time we were together. I mean, he knows doing the same things that we did with Danny. So I think that even though Danny's going to be missed, I think the appearance of missing a presence like Danny is more so than what actually exists. It'd be the same way if anybody leaves that is so well thought of, and you knew he did such a good job But the reality is, the next guy's going to do a good job too. So we're gonna be okay. But we certainly miss his presence because he was so good for us.
What's the best advice you could give to Danny, being in Tulsa yourself?
You know, I think this. I think he has to be until he gets it the way he wants it, which will be taking a little time, obviously. I think the reality of it is to let people get to know him, because there's not that many alums living in Tulsa, so you have to draw from all the other fan bases together, support, and they will support him as long as they like him. And Danny is the most likable guy around, and I would make sure that he is as visible as possible. And then when he starts winning games, that'll all take care of itself.
Last week at the Conference USA Basketball Media Day, Larry Brown was there. He was talking about how he comes around Kansas a lot and likes walking around. How big of that to you is that, having Larry Brown kind of around the program?
Well, I think it's huge. You know, I love the guy, and he is so unselfish with me as far as how he approaches it. He never says, "Hey, this is better," when he knows it probably is. He will tell me, "Hey, I've got an idea for you. It's probably a dumb idea, but listen to me," which is basically telling me, "Listen to me." But the players loved him, and he never did anything with the players other than just say, "Hey, man, you're doing good. Hey, keep doing this." I mean, he didn't coach him. I mean, you can't coach him, but I mean, just having him around and having the players respect him and come up and talk to him all the time was a big bonus. But you know, he gave me a chance in this profession, and so hanging out with him, which I thought he was the coolest dude I'd ever been around when I did coach for him, is really neat for me right now. So I won't get a chance to do it as much moving forward, but I've probably seen him as much since school started as I have anybody, because I've been down to do clinics for him. I've been down just to drop in and say hello, and I think we'll always stay close.
You've been at Kansas for 10 years now.
Going on 10, yes.
Have you had any thoughts of going to the NBA? Or do you like coaching in college?
No, I like my job. I like my job a lot, and I just committed to be at the school for a long time. And they committed to me, which was more important to me. But I can't see myself coaching anywhere else right now. In college, for sure. And then as far as the NBA goes, you know, there's only 30 jobs, and to be honest with you, I hate to say this, but I got a better job than 3/4 of them. So I mean, I got one of the best jobs that basketball has to offer, in my opinion. I can't see wanting to be anywhere else.
How have you evolved as a coach in the last 3 or 4 years? Have you changed, if at all?
I don't know if I've changed from a philosophical standpoint or how we teach things as much. I think I'm more understanding. I think I'm more patient. I think that I'm understand that I want guys to show their personalities through this, and sometimes that can be a little combative. That stuff doesn't bother me. Where before it may have bothered me. I want guys with emotion and personality, and I really believe that I'm able to see big picture probably better than I used to.
Is there examples of maybe how that's manifested? Previously you didn't do this, but now you're doing
I would
that.
say previously I'd worry about things that had nothing to do with winning. I would worry, but now I worry about big picture. Like I'm not as concerned with winning a battle as I am the war, so to speak. And now you got to win your fair share of battles to have a chance. But I don't know if there's any specific examples, but things that would have really, like Tyshawn Taylor, the appearance of some things that happened with him in the past would have really bothered me, and didn't bother me at all. It's part of growing up, and being able to, as I get a little bit older, being able to understand that and seeing that. I think I probably understand more about kids and how to deal with them than maybe I did 5 years ago.
What about raising your own kids? How does that influence how you've done with these
Cindy
guys?
raises the kids. She deserves all the credit for that. But I would say with my own kids, I'm probably less patient than I am with the players.
Wow.
I would say that would for sure be the case.
I think the players would agree with you.
Well, they've never seen me at home, but in that setting. But I think if you were to ask, when our players start ragging on me in the locker room, my son will chime in and say, "Guys, this is nothing. I've lived with the dude for 18 years. I promise you." So I think from that standpoint, that is true. And that's one reason why I think he'll be a positive influence on our guys.
When you took the job, I think there was some stories about how you talked to people before you took it. I think didn't Dick Vitale tell you not to take it, maybe?
He suggested that.
And then I think you talked to your dad, and I think one of the questions that came up was, how do you replace a guy that has won, 80% of his games and done so much? And here you are, a national championship, 8 straight conference titles, national championship appearance, another one. Did you ever envision when you took it that it would reach what it's written and what you've done?
I hoped. I thought that we were good at Illinois. Good at Illinois. And we were really good at Tulsa. We knocked on the door, and I thought Kansas would give us the best product to have the best chance to be great. So I thought we'd be competitive at a national level. I expected all that stuff, but to see how things have kind of played out, I think it's beyond expectations for me personally to know that we can be in the game year in and year out. The worst team we've had is a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, and I'm pretty proud about that, about the model of consistency. So, we're not always going to win 80% of our games. I know that. We're going to take dips. I know that. But the bottom line is, for the most part, it's been a pretty consistently good situation, even though we've had our peaks and valleys.
Why haven't
We were
you
talking
taken
about
any dips
your
yet?
depth.
I mean, you haven't. Why haven't you taken any dips? I mean, like every other program, even the traditional which programs have had a year with maybe they missed the tournament. Or what's been the?
I think we've recruited better than what maybe my coaches have gotten credit for. I think we've recruited deeper. I think we've had, when the appearance is that you're losing guys, you had guys that are waiting, that have been playing against good pro players every day in practice that understand the system and that kind of stuff. Or maybe a lot of people have to reload every year. We haven't really reloaded totally every year. And there's an expectation of our guys to win and win big. So, and they buy into that. So I don't know if there's a secret other than the fact that we've really had nice players. No question.
What makes you the most proud of that streak? Is the fact that you've done it with completely different teams, the conference streak, or?
I would say we've won it. We're tied for it 8 years, and I bet you we've had 4 totally different teams. For the most part. There may be a little bit of carryover, but not much. So that to me, the key year for us, the most important year we had was when Wayne and Keith and Aaron and Mike were leaving, and JR, and you recruit all those freshmen. It's not that we weren't going to get back to be good, but this team had to bridge the gap, and they won the tournament, tied for it, and won the tournament. And then after the national championship, you lose all the guys. Well, this next team had to bridge the gap, and they won the league. And then this past year's team, would you lose all those guys? Well, this next team has to bridge. You have to have that team to basically not let it dip. And we've had 3 teams that didn't allow it to dip, where they still were able to win the league. When you look at it on paper, they should be the least successful team. I've always thought momentum, you want to extend it as long as you can, and when it's bad momentum, you need to cut it off. And these guys haven't allowed us to have bad momentum.
What kind of impact do you think AAU right now is having on the game of college basketball?
Good. I think AAU ball is great. I think the majority of the people involved with AAU basketball are good guys. I think they give kids a ton of exposure. I think there's a lot of good things going on with that. You hear the negative, obviously. So if it's 97% good, there's 3% bad, and you only hear the 3%. But isn't that the way it is in any business? And they're bad and everything. So I think AAU basketball is fine. I think there's some other influences in our game that maybe don't get the credit that AAU basketball does from a negative standpoint, because I think there's a lot of good going on with AAU basketball.
Bill, you said up there you could see yourself playing 10 or 11 guys. In an ideal world, do you have a 8 or 9 man rotation?
Oh yeah, I'd say I could see myself deeper, but we're going to play 9.
Yeah.
We'll start the season out playing 9, and then it'll go to 8, and then who knows where it'll go after that. But we could have a 10th and 11th that would be pretty disappointing because we're pretty good. Last year we had a happy locker room. I mean, because everybody knew exactly what their role was, and everybody knew who was going to play and who wasn't, and that kind of stuff. And so we had a happy locker room last year. This year is going to be a little bit different. There'll be some guys disappointed this year, but that also brings out competition, which is good.
Well, you were talking about the consistency thing, and I think is one of the biggest challenges these days finding the balance between a guy that might be a star but might only be there for a year and the guy that's there for 4 years and has a chance to develop.
I don't read into that too much. I just want to recruit the best players, period, that we can get. If we could get, I could say, well, the reason we haven't got any one and done is because we haven't recruited them. That'd be a lie. We want to recruit the best guys, but sometimes the best guys can be. We've kind of taken a chapter out of a mid-major book, so to speak. You look at some of the losses we've had. We've gone against mid-major teams with 3rd and 4-year guys when our guys were 1 and 2-year guys. Not that much difference in talent, but experience kind of prevailed. We've kind of taken the approach here lately that experience will prevail. The Twins weren't highly recruited. Brady Morningstar, Tyrell Reed, Mario Little, Thomas Robinson, Tyshawn Taylor, those weren't high recruits by national standards. But by the time they're juniors, they can be better than those kids when they're really young. And that's kind of won with us. That's what we've won with here the last couple of years.
There's not a lot of elite programs, though, that are doing it that way anymore.
Well, I don't know if that's true because there's not that many one-and-dones. You stop and think, is Duke getting one-and-dones? They had Rivers. Is Carolina getting one-and-dones? Is Kentucky, obviously, is Michigan State getting one-and-dones? Has Syracuse gotten one-and-dones? I mean, they've had it like Waiters was a 2-and-done, but I mean, it's not like there's that many one-and-dones. It's just they all go to one school, and for the most part, and so that gets a lot of attention. But I don't think that if there's 5 one-and-dones or 6 one-and-dones a year, that's a pretty high number, and we haven't got those. We've gotten 1. We're proud of it. We've gotten 2, but we're really proud of the 1. Xavier was a lottery pick, and Josh, to me, it turned out great for him because he's playing well with Memphis and he's MVP of the Summer League. But he wasn't. Because of health, he didn't have a chance to be a lottery type pick. I think if he came back, he could have. But the majority of the guys out there are 2, 3, 4-year guys. The one and done is the exception and not the rule, but it is a bad rule because those kids should be allowed to go out of high school, I think.
So if you could sign a class with 4 one and done, knowing they were pretty much one and done, would you do it?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Your title team is a mix.
The best play, to me, the perfect team is have the foundation be your older guys and your most talented be your younger. Because the older guys will get it and know how to teach the young guys. Kentucky was a strange deal last year in that they obviously had Miller and they had more experience and Jones and Lamb, even though sophomores were experienced because they've been around so much and done so much from the year before. But still, though, you don't have totally unselfish kids and people associated with the kids and all that stuff all come together to work for the best of everybody. That's hard to do. And Cal did a remarkable job. I mean, seriously, he did a remarkable job with that last year, and those were great kids. But I think Cal would be the first to tell you that ain't easy. Having a whole bunch of stars come in and say, you know what, you're getting 9 shots and that's it. You're getting 7, that's it. And have everybody buy into that.
What kind of advice do you give guys who want to go after their freshman year?
If they're ready, go. I mean, if they're ready, but I don't understand why kids and people surrounding kids want to put growing up and fast forward. All of us are older, and we wish we could go back and hit slow play or replay and go back and do it again, but still everybody wants to put it fast forward, and because that's what we've been trained in our mind, that this is what's best for life, for fun, for all that. It's not true. Most fun years they're going to have is the years they spend their senior year in high school and the years they spend in college. And so I don't know why anybody wants to speed it up. So if a kid's ready to be paid, I would suggest not go. If he's ready to have a career, I'd suggest go. Because there's a difference. Guys can get a check but not prepared, or there's guys that can be prepared and make a life out of it. So that would be the only advice I give.
What about Jeff with you? I'm sure you've talked about this already, but primarily, what are you wanting him to focus on? What was he focusing on during the off season?
I think scoring. He's got to go 2 moves over both shoulders, basically. and he's got to take a big step offensively because he doesn't have Thomas on the other side. So he benefited. He only scored 9 a game last year, but he benefited a lot of those points from having Thomas there. So it'll be harder for him this year because defenses will be designed to stop him.
You got a lot of young guys that, ready or not, are going to probably have to play some minutes for you. I mean, because of that, are you treating or coaching these guys any differently? Or being a little harder on them than maybe it would be the normal?
I told him that I would be as hard on them as any group I've ever been, but I don't know if that's actually true because they try so hard. I mean, I haven't had any reason to really be frustrated with them. But they know. I think there's a feeling that they know that they have to perform at sophomore, junior, senior level in the next month, and so there is pressure on them to perform. And the biggest thing I would on them about is being aggressive every possession. To me, that's the biggest step. It's just guys knowing how hard to play.
Can they do that? I mean, is that
I think
possible to play at that junior, senior level or junior level?
I think they can by the time their conference gets here. But I think it'll be hard for them, to initially start out that way.
Some of those young guys, is it less about who might be the best player at the end of the day, at the end of the career, and who might just be the best role player to fit in with what you have at the beginning? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense. But I do believe that it's our job to try to play the best guys. You want to get your best guys all playing to their ceiling or as close to their ceiling as possible, and then find some way to put the puzzle together. I think that's the way you do it, as opposed to this guy's better today.
Yeah.
He may help us win a game here and there, but for the betterment of your program all the time, you got to get your best players playing the best. I think everybody would agree with that. It's great to have guys get better and all that stuff, but if they're not your best guys, it doesn't give you as good a chance to win games late in the season. You want your best guys out there making mistakes, so that way they learn how to play through them, in my opinion.
You're looking at the 4 spot. What are you going to kind of look for the first couple weeks of practice to see who fits Jeff best?
I don't know if I'm looking to see who fits best yet. I think what I'm looking for is to see who can basically play the way that I want him to play. Kevin, to me, is ahead of everybody because of his energy. But Kevin's not a natural scorer. Perry is more of a natural scorer, so which complements Jeff. I think we'll get into that later on, but right now, I just want those guys being aggressive at all times, and then we'll start trying to put it together probably a couple of weeks from now. Because I hadn't really got that far down the road yet on we have to have him play this way to complement him. I just want to see where everybody's at, that kind of stuff, because there's so many unknowns with Perry, and there's so many unknowns with Jamari, and there's, obviously Zach's not out there, but we got some things going on with some guys that I don't know what their level is yet. So it could be a situation, hey, Perry comes, we hope Jeff plays good with Perry, as opposed to Perry playing good with Jeff. Or it could be a situation with Ben, hey, we hope those other guys play well with Ben. We'll do some things around Ben other than the fact that Ben being a complimentary guy to them. So right now, everybody's on a level field.
Is Kevin, is he maybe more suited to be a guy off the bench because of what he brings?
Energy. Yeah, it could be. But I'm not going to tell him that right now because I think he's worked hard enough to start, without question.
Going back to something you said earlier, what are the things that matter to you that maybe the average person wouldn't think about that makes KU better than 75% of those NBA jobs?
Well, I don't know that for a fact, but great product, get a chance to recruit, you get a chance to work with quality student athletes every year, guys you enjoy, you win. Because it doesn't matter what they pay you. If you don't win, you're going to be miserable. And quality of life. For us, it's pretty good. With this new situation that I got, I don't know if you could have security like that with any other place in America like you can that I have right now. So that's a big bonus too.
Has your opinion about that evolved over time? Do you look at it differently now than you did as a younger coach?
I probably look at it when I was younger. I probably looked at it I want years. I want that. I don't really look at it that way now. I just look at it as we found a destination job, and now we know we can stay as long as we do a good job. But there's obviously, provisions in any contract that if you don't do a good job, they get rid of you. So to me, the pressure's still on. I mean, because and that's the way it should be. The pressure should be on at all times. But I probably look at it in a little bit more relaxed state now, which is probably positive than I did before.
Bill, can you kind of talk a little bit about Travis's, I guess, progression?
Coach, last.
Obviously, being in the program as long as he has been, and of course, that 1 year he had to redshirt. Talk a little bit about just some of the things that you've seen, particularly last season, just with his progression as a player.
Well, he's he came in as a pretty heralded recruit, jack of all trades, master of none. Not a great shooter. I thought he'd be a college defender first day. He wasn't. And even though he impacted our team, he wasn't one of our main rotation guys. And he just kind of waited his time. And fortunately for him and for us, we were able to redshirt him 1 year, which turned out to be what a bonus for us. Going to graduate in December, but he's improved his stroke, his confidence level sky high. He can guard anybody. He's the best around and stealing extra possessions, and everybody loves him. That's not a bad combination for a kid. And I think he'll go down with me as one of the most fun kids I've coached. I love the guy, and he's an unbelievable ambassador for us, and great teammate. Everybody likes him. Everybody's happy for his success, and he's as unselfish as anybody around.
Did you feel that he was the kid that could take a red shirt well enough? Because a lot of times kids don't.
Well, yeah, I felt he could because he wanted to play. If he would have been for sure in our top 8 and say, Travis, you're going to play, but you may only play 18 minutes, he wouldn't have redshirted. But he looked at it and said, hey, this is a pretty crowded house. And it was one of the few times that Withy obviously had the red shirt because he transferred, and Kevin Young had to because he transferred. Brady Morningstar redshirted with what it did for him. And the guys that have red shirt, it's turned out to be a big bonus for them. And plus, the biggest thing about red shirt, it guarantees graduation. And here's a guy that's going to, I think he only needs 3 hours or 6 hours to graduate.
Last year, you came into the year and maybe the expectations were a little lower than usual. And to see what you did last year, does that kind of help this team after you lose a couple big guys?
I think so. I think so. I think going to Europe helped us too, because we weren't very good over there. And I think our young kids, first of all, our veterans played poorly, but our young kids realized, hey, we got a lot of work to do if we're going to get any good. So I think that was good for us too. But I think our older guys, seeing the process that last year's team went through, I think will definitely help teach young guys that, hey, the process is good. It's good to go through some crap, and we'll be better for it.
Can you talk about the fact, the headaches of having older guys and having so many younger guys?
I think it could be headaches, but the older guys all seem to like the young guys. And the young guys are all guys that defer. I mean, none of them are in here, hey, look at me. They're all guys that defer, that want the seniors to go out in style. So I think right now, it could change, I guess, as attention goes and you guys focus in on some guys and that kind of stuff. But right now, it's the most unselfish group, almost to a fault. I wish they were more aggressive in certain ways. But, hey, Perry's just happy if Jeff has a great year, or whatnot. And Ben's the same way. So I think it's pretty good for kind of a screwed up balance of the team. You don't see this very often. I'm not saying this. I think it's really going to turn out to be a blessing for us.
You talk about being a blessing, but obviously the freshmen were not here what you guys did a year ago. How do you kind of get those kids to understand that you were not a part of that, but you can be?
One thing I do think that's good for coaching is that when you have some success, kids listen better. So whatever we tell them now, I think they'll buy into it more than ever because they know it works. So I think that's one of the residual effects of winning that I think makes it easier to coach kids.
Coach, Royce White for Iowa State was frequently referred to as a matchup nightmare. A, how happy are you to see that he was a one-and-done guy, and B, they bring in...
He was a matchup nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a hard matchup because we couldn't put Thomas on him because we didn't want him to foul. Yeah. And Jeff, you know, had a hard time staying in front of him, so he was a matchup nightmare. I loved his game. You know, whenever Fred told me he's going to play him at point guard, what? You know, and then find out, you know, that he was a .5, and Fred used him beautifully to get him in the first round. I mean, I thought he utilized his skill set about as well as anybody. But I should say I'm happy to see him in the league because I want our league to be good. But he was hard for us.
They had a new true point guard this year in Lucius, who everyone's familiar with, but not playing in this league. What about his game impressed?
Well, I remember him because he made some plays to beat us in the Sweet 16 game in Indianapolis a couple of years ago, a few years ago. So, is Corey? Is he a redshirt junior or a redshirt senior?
Senior.
I think it's senior.
So he's only got one. This is it.
Like Allen.
But he's a good player, fast, can shoot. You know, and he's led a team to a Final Four too.
Coach, can you also kind of talk